to say about that. I saw a tweet from somebody saying how Capcom overhyped this new Master League thing, and I was just like, there was like one slide about it, and there was like one tweet about it. I didn't feel overhyped at all. I was just like, okay, they're doing something for people in the master ranks, and that's it. I wasn't expecting like some massive thing for the master rank players.
Who knows? Maybe some the people who are complaining about it in that aspect, maybe they had more influence and talk about it than just seeing the slide from Capcom. Maybe they had friends or other people around on Twitter like talking about it as well, so they got the impression that it was going to be bigger than it is or something. Who knows?
Yeah, I personally thought it was going to bring about world peace, but
Oh,
kind of let down.
I don't think
that's
we
a
had
huge
anyone.
letdown right there.
You know what will bring about world peace is if I make it to legend. I'm gonna be a legend and solve world hunger and world peace. There we go.
Not if I get there first.
I'm hype as shit. Yeah, we're hype as shit. This is great. To the Absolute Guard podcast.
Yes, welcome. My name is Benny, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host John, who I normally have something extra to say about today, but not today. I'm just gonna start this episode by saying this is episode number 50. How's it going, John?
Pretty good. I have an intro. You could say my fellow Master Rank player, because you made Master Rank recently, right? With Dalsum?
Yes, I did. Yep.
Very cool.
A pretty big accomplishment for myself, just because I was very humbled to start this game. Got my ass kicked really bad to start, but I think my placement matches were like 3 of 10 with Sim after I was like, just going through the motions with Honda, and I was like, oh, this game's not too bad. Then I played Sim and got humbled real bad and thrown into silver, and I was just like, man, I suck.
You climbed up from silver?
Yeah, I was all the way in silver when I started.
Oh man, that is a rough climb. That's a lot of games. That's a lot of games.
Yeah,
a lot of playtime.
But yeah, it's happy to make it the master rank. Getting my ass handed to me pretty bad right now, but I wouldn't want it any other way. Like I want to play the better players, and that's where they're at. And yeah, the overall, I mean, it's still a mix. Like Scott's mentioned it a lot too. Talking to him, he's just like, yeah, there's bad players in master, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sure, because it's more of a time sink than anything. But I mean, still, if you can mix in a top player here and there along with everybody else, like I'll take that.
Yeah, honestly I've got a lot to say about the master rank and a lot of that ecosystem, particularly because it changed today. But I was curious as well, who do we have on the show today?
Today we have Mr. DragonNinja.
What's up, Daniel?
Hello.
Thanks for coming back.
Man. Yeah.
No, I'm honored. I appreciate you guys inviting me back. It was super fun last time, and super excited for whatever we end up leading into today.
So we were just talking about the master rank, and you've also hit master. I don't forget when you hit master, DragonNinja. You've been master for a while though, right?
Goodness, it was I want to say it was like 4 or 5 weeks into the game. It took me a little while because I definitely like had spurts of like wanting to play ranked versus not. So yeah. And I was pretty stuck for a little while around the diamond 2-3.
Yep.
I kept bouncing back and forth between those two ranks for a good week or so. But yeah, I eventually made it up to the master ranks. Felt pretty proud of myself, and now it's like, all right, now the real game begins.
Yeah. One of my friends, he puts it. I was just gonna say, like, he puts it. I guess climbing up, it's the wild west. Like there's a lot of just crazy play here and there. Occasionally you get the guy that's like, kind of the natural, like, what you expect, and then there's other people that are just wild, man, and just it tilts you, it throws you off so bad.
Well, that's the thing. If you're going to be a tournament player, you got to be able to win and play against all kinds. So you have no idea what you're going to get over at Evo or et cetera, right? So it's you got to be able to win against all of them. You can't just be like, oh man, if I was in master rank, I'd be cleaning fools. But these randoms, yeah, you
Yeah.
can't be thinking like that, right? Not that I'm saying you were thinking like that, but
Yeah.
if everyone's struggling down in there, like, yeah, you got to be able to win against all kinds and stuff. It's
Yeah,
not
I
easy.
always think about that one match with that one player. I think it was a Europe tournament with Gandhi
Oh yeah.
and the Ryu Rufus matchup, and like Effort and Logan could barely kind of keep their composure while he was kind of just random DPs and whatever, and like combos were hitting that they weren't expecting to hit, and they were just Effort was laughing, but at the same time it was just like bait out what he's doing. You shouldn't be losing to this, but hey, like he's doing something right if you can't deal with it.
I wonder whatever happened to that Rufus player. Like if they like know that they became a fighting game meme. I imagine if they were at DreamHack, which was the tournament this occurred at,
Oh yeah,
that they
that's what
would
it
have
was. Yeah.
that they would have known that they became a meme. But I hope like that person's still in the community somewhere,
Yeah.
and maybe a little bit more. They better at controlling the temper and the mind game.
Yeah. Yeah, man,
But
you gotta keep your composure.
yeah. Another thing I was curious about is, so you mentioned, both of you all mentioned the bounce between Diamond 2 and 3. And I do want to like bring up to our listeners here that like the master rank, it was a very, very small percentage of the player population at the beginning of the game. And it's grown a little bit, but by and large, it still is like the top 2 or 3 or 5% of players. So if you're not in master rank, we can talk as if this is the promised land and rub it in. No, but in reality, it's like it's not a very common thing to be master rank. And so even though the three of us on this podcast have reached that rank, we are going to share a little bit of our journeys. It sounds like I got a couple questions. So
Yeah, I mean, being in the platinum diamond area, like you think of all the people that play the game or have played the game and
yeah,
are beneath you essentially, right? I don't know if I really want to use that term, but like, yeah, they're below you in rank, and like you're at a higher level than a vast majority of the people that play the game. So
Yeah.
it's even that much is impressive to me.
agree. Jess just made platinum this past week with she's playing JP. She's playing modern JP, and so I learned a couple things about modern controls. But it's been cool seeing her like travel down up the ladder, going from rookie to iron to bronze to silver to gold and all the way to platinum, and seeing like how each level kind of rewards knowledge of a specific mechanic.
Mm.
And like she's hit platinum now, and platinum everybody DIs. Like platinum seems like the level where you learn to counter DI. And I was kind of curious if that was your experience, Benny.
Yeah, kind of like I'd say like the later platinum levels, kind of early diamond is where like people were kind of mixing it up more. Like it wasn't just like just throwing it out there, but it was just like there were a lot of players that were just kind of catching me by surprise, like when they would do it. Like early on, like platinum and maybe like the gold levels, like you would see people just kind of just throw it out at their first move, right? Then now I was seeing like kind of like mixed into the block strings or uh you know or I was seeing some super wild stuff. Like, I mean, I still see it now in Master Rank, like empty jump DI, and I'm just like, what? So I see that. I still have a clip. I was gonna post it. I was kind of debating about it just because I felt like I didn't really want to post something like negative in that sense. But it was like a Zangief player I was playing, and like I know that matchup is hell for him with me playing Dalsim, and I had him in the corner, and he woke up DI 3 times in a row. The first time, I countered it. The second time, I threw the OD Arch Fireball and I countered it. And then the third time he did it, and like he didn't get like the full hit, he got like the counter hit, so it just kind of hit me away.
Yeah.
But I was just like, you just did that 3 times in a row in the corner, like what? I was just like, naturally, like everybody would have been like, well, you should have reacted, and I was just like, well, I wasn't expecting that. You know what I mean? And I'm just like 3 in a row on wake up. I was just like, huh? So yeah, it's
like
definitely
a throw
been
loop, dude.
yeah,
You're
it's
never
been
gonna
kind
throw
of
3 times in a
like,
row.
yeah. But I mean, at the same time, like I kind of didn't blame him either, because like I said, I mean, Zangief versus Dhalsim in this game is really tough. So like, I got a lot of respect in the world for the people that I have lost to that play Zangief. Like some of the later ranked ones that I ran into, I think late Diamond, were like they were using moves that I hadn't even seen. I think like the running bear grab, like that was like the first time I saw it, and I was just like, oh, he took the one hit of my my normal from afar, and now I'm in the air. So cool. It was like I hadn't seen that like in three in gold and platinum at all. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been kind of crazy.
How about you, Daniel? Have you had any like have you noticed any tendencies based on rank or based on different levels that you saw more of or got caught
For
off guard by?
for me, it was a complete return to like what Benny was saying. How like all of a sudden this higher level Keith was doing wake up DIs out of nowhere. And I was just like, I wasn't expecting it. It's just interesting to me how prevalent like basic mechanics are used at the lower levels because they're not sure how to like structure a offensive pressure. They're not necessarily knowing how to approach neutral completely. It's just kind of buttons, buttons, buttons. And then you get into the higher ranks, and I kind of end up following suit, but like you almost see a return to that in a certain aspect.
Yeah.
But they have a plan for why they're doing it in this quote unquote random situation. So that's been my experience. I in the beta I was like platinum, and then when I did placements when the game launched, I was Diamond 1. So my climb was through Diamond, and I didn't really see too much like empty jump DI or anything like that, or round start, but I saw a lot of block string DI. And
Yeah.
that was like the only type of DI I was seeing almost.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was either like block string DI, or if you're in the corner, shimmy around and then DI.
I do that
Okay.
one a lot. I like that one. That's a good one.
But like yeah, it just feels like the intent and purpose was much more
Methodical.
methodical, much more purposeful. I don't know how else to say it. There was much more reason behind why they were doing some of these setups and things that previous ranks were doing. Like they were doing it all the same, but like in this specific instance, because I woke up in this way, or because I did this certain block string, they reacted this way, but with a reason, because they know they narrowed down their mental stack to what the expected responses were going to be. So it's been interesting. That's been the interesting thing for me, is like I see some of the same ideas and strats, but just with more purpose.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me too is like I've had to kind of like self-reflect on like why they're doing those things, because like just in my playstyle from Street Fighter 5, like I like to press heavy buttons a lot. I don't know if it's necessarily like damage, or it's like I do stuff that has a lot of recovery. Even like his medium kick has a lot of recovery, but more recovery than you're not able to react. So a lot of times it makes me adjust, and I kind of have to be like, wait, why am I getting DI'd here? Oh, because every time he does, or every time he's in this situation, I do this.
Yep.
So of course this is his natural reaction to make me to stop to do that. So then I in turn start using like my stand short so that I can react. You know what I mean? And it's just like I can do this, and if I see the DI come out, I'm ready this time. Whereas before, if I did stand medium kick, I can't do anything. I'm sitting there just eating the DI. So a lot of it's been kind of like self-reflection in terms of like why are they playing this way? Is it is it part of what I'm doing that's dictating that, or is it just because a lot of people like aren't necessarily just random, but it's like people have purpose for why they're doing it. Like when I'm in a panic situation, a lot of times I'll just throw out a DI and then I get countered and I'm just like, yeah, that was dumb. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah, I think the DI is like a really like beautifully designed mechanic for that reason, where it's like, oh, I can't just hit heavy punch over and over again. Now I have to think about why I'm hitting my buttons. So even though like you can get on the guy's case for using DI and not thinking, it forces you to think about what you're going to do in order to counter it. And I think that then that like opens you up to learning new things and playing footsies and playing neutral a lot more. And you can be like, oh, I should pressure with low risk buttons like jabs so I can bail out in the DI if I need to. And I think that like that's basically the mechanic being so strong helps teach people the game. Alternatively, you can just wait and then DI, which is essentially what a whiff punish is. That's
Yeah.
super cool.
Well, I think the other thing too is like if you think about Street Fighter Five too, like heavies were a big thing because of the crush counters, right? Like that was the name of the game a lot in that game was like, let me stand roundhouse, let me do this. Like season one, Karen, like man, I don't know how many times I got crushed by that stupid thing.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was a good button.
Or Nikali, right? Like Nikali, the little step forward roundhouse. Like I would get crush countered by that all the time, and like, oh well, here's his V trigger, and I was just like, okay. So it's like if you're used to doing that stuff from five, then yeah, because
Yeah.
that's what I was doing. I was doing stand roundhouse a lot in five, and I was like, oh, I got a crush counter.
What I've
So-
noticed is that like for heavy punches and heavy kicks, like there are people that seek crush counters, but a lot of five players also do medium strings, and then those get blown up by DI as well because they're used to hitting strong twice, and then they get DI'd. And then even like boomer neutral, I call it boomer neutral because anytime you see somebody that's playing ST or something and they hit like stand fierce, they'll hit stand fierce immediately again. They'll just and like I think that's more like a CVS2 thing where it's like you just hit crouch fierce a lot with certain characters. And you swing with the big button because a lot of characters they only had one good button in those older games, right? But those are the things that get blown up by DI too. So it feels like no matter what generation you come from, you're gonna have a problem with DI. Arguably Street Fighter 4.
To a certain extent, unless you change it up. The one thing that you said that I don't really agree with was medium getting blown up by DI. In my experience, medium gets blown up the same way it did in 5, where people that would jab out, right? Because you're generally on a medium, you're negative like 1 or 2, maybe 3, unless you're privileged like Jury. I don't know, but like generally, I get beat out by someone jabbing. If they DI on my second, medium, then it's like okay, now I get counter DI.
I
Done
see.
deal. So it's like, how do you evolve the previous muscle memory that you had?
Yeah. Okay. So you're basically watching with that medium for the DI, and then either...
Well, it can happen. Not necessarily that's strictly what I'm watching for, but like by now the muscle memory and the reflexes have been honed to where like okay, I see the red off this cancelable move, so let me hit DI.
Okay. Wait, so hang on. You mentioned that not many characters have positive medium buttons. Ryu I know his only solar plexus is positive, right?
And stand roundhouse.
Okay, but Benny, do you have a medium button that's plus? Like I thought that was pretty common.
I don't know. I don't think his crouch is. Actually, you're gonna make me look now. I don't know. I haven't really like memorized my.
Is it really that common? Does Chun-Li have? I can't remember.
Yeah, the noodle elbow that everybody complains about. It's
Okay,
plus two, dog. It's plus two.
I think plus 2 is probably the standard medium.
No. So Sim's stab medium punch is -5. His crouch medium punch is -4.
Wow, I am privileged then. What the hell?
Yeah, I don't have a positive. I don't have a positive normal. Yeah, I don't have a positive normal. Looking at that, it's -1 for the light punches.
Huh. Okay. Well, I guess I'm privileged then.
having a medium that's positive, I think is pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty dang good.
I agree. Okay, the whole reason why I even started the conversation about master rank originally was because today, I believe it was today, or it might have been yesterday, that they unveiled a new feature for master rank players called the MR, or master rate. And what that is like you start out with like 1,500 points, and then every time you play against somebody with that's within a certain range of that MR rating, you will gain or lose points, and it's like in increments of like 5 or 10. It's like something. It's a pretty small number since it starts at 1,500. And I've noticed that it started to pair me up with like, because I've been sitting at 44,000 points, and like I'm pretty decent at the game, but like I don't put in the amount of time that some of the ranked monsters really put in. Like people are at like 100k or 150k points by now. Yeah. So like 3 times the amount of points that I have. But it started matching me up with those people, and I would win some and I would lose some, but then I would get like 250 league points, and then like 9 MR or something. So it's trying to boost me up pretty quickly. So I've actually found that the MR affects matchmaking, or at least anecdotally it does, and it pairs me up with higher level opponents. So I kind of get to skip a lot of the lower level master play, which is kind of interesting. I'm kind of worrisome too.
I think the main thing is it. I think it's still going to affect your league points more heavily than it is going to affect your master rate points, if I'm understanding things correctly from what I looked at.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. So you're not you're not prone to gain as much, I guess, is what I was looking at.
Yeah, you only gain like increments of 5 or 10, basically.
So
yeah,
once,
exactly.
So once I'm actually completely unfamiliar with the whole thing. I didn't know about this until like 30
just
minutes
started
ago that
today.
I was in
Yeah.
John's server and like people were talking about it. I think it was Scott was mentioning it. I was like, oh, I didn't know that was happening. I actually assumed that it happened not just today. It was like some other day. I had no idea. So like I'm probably gonna ask a few questions about it, but like basically, if you're within that 1500, like is there going to be like a master rating level itself apart from your rank?
Yeah, so there's two different ones. Yeah, so there's still the LP that still shows, and then so when you win or lose, it's gonna show you gaining or losing points for both.
Right. Okay. So if you get like you said, the range was 1500 MR.
Yeah, that's what you start with. Yeah, that's the base.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the base.
Okay, so if you hit the top limit of 1500 MR, you get to a new MR level, and there's a new 1500, or that's just
from what I saw.
That's, or is that just a plus minus?
It's just
range?
straight plus minus. Yeah, like I think the best players right now have like 1650 points or something like that.
Yeah.
So they grinded out 150 of those points, which is a non-trivial amount of grind. But I think it's more akin to like an ELO system as opposed to the LP system, which is kind of like an experience points system where
you
get more for winning, but you get some for losing, right?
Yeah, as we were talking about the ranking and making it to master rank, I was thinking about like how easy it was comparatively to other rank systems that I'm used to.
Yeah.
I know obviously I'm the DOA guy, so I think of DOA first, and like how brutal that system is. Like once you get into, so there's in that game there's F through S ranks, and each of those ranks is divided by plus, neutral, and minus. Right.
Okay.
After that, there's star ranks, star 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Once you get to those star ranks, actually after S, there's a U. Anyway, beside the point. Once you get to the star ranks, you still do 2 out of 3 sets, but if you win a 2 out of 3 set 2-1, you're losing more points than you gain. So like when I was grinding up through Diamond trying to get to master, I was seeing how lenient it was, like the loss of points versus the gain of points. I was like, man, this is gonna be a breeze. Granted, I did get stuck, as I mentioned, but like it was very forgiving. Like, and I was wondering how they were gonna address that, if they're gonna like make more ranks further up or whatnot. And I know there was some Twitter discourse about it, because I remember seeing a lot of people talking about, man, just anybody makes it to masters nowadays.
Oh, jeez.
And I was like, okay, sure. But they're like, I saw a lot of people wondering how they were going to change it. So hearing about this new NMR system and so soon is pretty interesting.
Yeah, no, I had that same experience, like you said. Like I got stuck too around Diamond 2 or 3, and then like, what's his name, Ryan was talking about how from Diamond 4 or Diamond 5 to Master was easier for him, or it went by because like you start to get matched with master rank players, and if you can win 1 or 2 of those matches, then you gain a shit ton of points. And that's exactly what happened to me, because I think from Diamond 4 to 5 I played, I don't know, over 100 matches just to even get there. And then from 5 to master, I played like under 25, because I lost. I think I lost my first 2 master games to somebody, and then I won a few others. And all of a sudden, I was just like, oh, I'm a positive 400 points from this game. Whereas before, and like you said, like even if I lost, like I was still plus like 180 or whatever it was. So Yeah, that part's been, yeah. I don't know. Even in Master Rank, like I think I was talking to somebody about that. Like I've been getting my ass whooped, and you can't be demoted from that. So you still, you just go back to 25,000, and that's kind of where I'm
Yeah.
at. Like I'll win a couple matches, and I'm just like, oh, cool, I'm up 600, and then all of a sudden, like I get on a losing streak, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm back to 25,000. Like,
Yeah, I was curious about what the reasoning for that was, why you couldn't get demoted out of Masters, but not that I expect you guys to know or really have
yeah.
any
Well,
speculation.
John compared it to what is it in Guilty Gear Celestial? Like,
Yeah,
so it's kind of
Celestial.
like, so like you get to that point, and then at this point, like that's like that's kind of like your new floor, and like you can't be demoted from there, and you just from that point you're playing all the top players from there.
The kicker was that the Celestial rank reset every month, so you had to re-earn your spot there every time. But it looks like with this, so the other like side of this master rate is that they added a phase to this game. Like it's this master phase 1 or something. And so
Yeah.
what I think is going to happen is they're going to reset the master rates every certain amount of time.
Yeah. Well, they
And
said
so
3 months, and like if you think about it, it makes sense because we're supposed to get 4 characters, right? So we had just got Rashid. 3 months from
yeah.
now, we're supposed to get another character, right? So
Yeah,
that'd be
yeah.
a perfect time to kind of reset.
Okay, that
That
makes
would make
sense.
sense, yeah.
Yeah.
So then,
So doing
like,
it quarterly. So who's next? Aki? Is it Aki that's next?
I don't know, maybe
I don't know.
Ed.
Or maybe it's Ed. Yeah. Well, whoever's next. So I mean, yeah. But they mentioned a 3 month reset time, and then from the master rate, I guess the top players will get legend status. Is what they were saying.
Legend status.
Yeah, they mentioned legend. I saw
I
that in one
want
of the
that.
tweets.
That sounds badass.
Start
Oh
grinding,
man,
my friends. Start
Yeah.
grinding.
Yeah,
dang. Okay.
I saw legend. Yeah, like the top players would get legend, and then and like you said, they mentioned a reset in 3 months, and then yeah, that just came to mind in terms of like the characters releasing. Like we're supposed to get one every quarter, so or every 3 months, whatever.
Yeah,
So that kind of makes sense.
like, yeah, that. So I think the thing they're trying to combat is like constantly incentivizing players to continue playing the ranked modes, because I actually, so Street Fighter V had a similar ranking system to the DOA one that Daniel just mentioned, where there was a point where like if you won but you lost one game, so it was 2-1, you would lose more points overall, like you'd go down. So like that was the way of like keeping the top tier ranks like balanced, but you have this like that's not fun a lot of times, where people want to like have that gradual progression and they want to see the number go up, and so like it's discouraging to be like, hey, I won but I still lost. So I think this is like a really nice way to address that issue, and then kind of keep the LP is still there, so it still keeps growing, so people still get that feeling of pride for watching that number go up. But at the same time, like it has the pattern that Celestial has, where you can still like being good in a certain time period is also rewarded, I guess. I want to be a legend. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I think I even remember like in Street Fighter 4, like I remember playing people and like they'd beat me, and then I'd see their points go up +1, and I'm just like, man, that sucks. It's like, that's all you got for beating me. And then they leave, and I'm just like, well, no wonder they want to leave, because they're not, they don't have a lot to gain from playing me. So
yeah, that
but
creates
yeah, and then if they lose, like you said, like if they lose, then they lose however many points. So like the risk reward is definitely not there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's
well,
that's master rank.
No, that's cool. It seems like a neat way to address both desires. Exactly. I don't mean to reiterate exactly what John said, but yeah, both desires of having progression, but also, really elevating the people who are truly top level.
Yeah. Oh, I do. One last thing I wanted to say about that. I thought a tweet from somebody saying how Capcom overhyped this new Master League thing, and I was just like, there was like one slide about it, and there was like one tweet about it. I didn't feel overhyped at all. I was just like, okay, they're doing something for people in the master ranks, and that's it. But like, I mean, unless you were really expecting, I don't know what you were expecting, but I was like, I didn't feel underwhelmed by it. Let's just say that. Like, it's a welcome difference and change for it, but it's just like I wasn't expecting like some massive thing for the master rank players.
who knows? Maybe some the people who are complaining about it in that aspect, maybe they had more influence and talk about it than just seeing the slide from Capcom. Maybe they had friends or other people around on Twitter like talking about it as well, so they got the impression that it was going to be bigger than it is or something. Who knows?
Yeah, I personally thought it was going to bring about world peace, but
Oh,
kind of let down.
I don't
Damn.
think I don't think
That's
we
a
had
huge letdown
anyone.
right there.
You know what will bring about world peace is if I make it to legend. I'm gonna be a legend and
Yeah.
solve world hunger and world peace. There we go.
Not if I get there first.
I'm
No,
hype as
man.
shit. Yeah, we're hype as shit. This is great. Cool.
So one thing I wanted to talk about too, or a couple things we wanted to talk about, is like in our past couple episodes, we were talking about two things. One, that me and Maynard, because we had Maynard on the show, the X button, we had not played, and he was doing a money match gauntlet for himself at the gaming zone on one of their casual Fridays. And I was hoping to make it out that day, but that day like things didn't go as planned. I didn't get a lot of sleep, and I was like, I had to go to sleep for work and all that stuff. So we didn't end up going. I didn't end up going to that. And for me personally, like I'm not a big fan of like online money matches. So he messaged me one day and like, hey, you want to run a set or whatever. And we had time for like a quick first to three, and he beat me 3-2. And have a lot of experience in that match playing Jeff's Marisa. So um, I wasn't sure what to expect other than like, kind of playing like the character matchup more than anything, right? Like I didn't know what to expect from him as a player. And I think I won the first game, and I had like a good perfect in the first game. And then I think he won two, then I won one, then he closed it out. So overall, I think we went pretty even, and kind of learned some things about both the matchup and kind of each other. And we talked about it afterwards too, and I think that was pretty good. And then we ended up playing other sets too. So like I think if we did end up playing a money match in person, I think it kind of would have been pretty close. Like I wasn't expecting a blowout either way because one, it's Marissa, so one mistake and like there goes that game. You know what I mean? So
Subtle chop
and
at the knees.
and I figure like maybe his inexperience, or I mean I know he plays against one of our other local players, Swoops, but we don't play anywhere near the same. Like he has a whole different kind of tool set and does a lot of things that I don't do, and I kind of feel like maybe I'm the same way. Like I'm just completely different play style. So yeah, I think it would have been kind of similar. It would have been kind of close. But it was good. It was good to get that get that match out of the way, because there's definitely a lot of people locally that I haven't played at all, like online. So
Yeah, the X button is somebody that I think has improved in fighting games very, very rapidly in a very short amount of time. Like that, I think Marissa just fits him so well, and he's getting more and more like optimal. And so, like the moment you make a single mistake, like your entire health bar goes away.
yeah,
And then you're in a safe jump,
Marissa.
and it's just like, what do you
That's
do?
Marissa.
yeah. Yeah, I was
But
playing with Jeff again this morning. I think we played like 15 games and I won one. And like I was kind of laughing because like he likes to do the little cross up knee thing. And all I
yeah,
think about is DJ. And I was like, why does she have this as a cross up? Like this is stupid. Like I was getting hit by it at certain times, and I'm just like, why does she have this move? But all credit to Jeff. Like he gives me hell, but it's been helpful for playing other people because like Daniel said in the beginning, like you got to be ready for all kinds of play styles, and like being under duress all the time playing Jeff, like it helps me out in a lot of other situations. Like I'm just like, you're not on his level. Like, all right, I deal with this shit all the time playing casuals against my buddy. You're not gonna get away with this nonsense.
yeah. I can think of a couple players that just stress me out to play because they're so unpredictable, that you just have to play around that and then acknowledge that there's a variable there that you just will have no control over whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I said, I mean, he's forced me to kind of change things that I've done. Like in a lot of ways, it's kind of been like a great testing ground for me too. Because like I'll try things and I'll be like, how does he deal with this? Because I get away with it in ranked. Because like some people just don't know how to deal with certain things. And then I play him, and just been around for a long time. Like he's known all these kind of little tricks. Like he was blowing up, setups that I thought were cool, and I'm just like, well, I can't get away with that. Like, damn, man. I was like, all right, time to figure out something else.
Have you had any noteworthy matchups or matches lately, Daniel?
Oh, let's see.
How about at the
Trying to
most recent
think.
tournament?
I guess the the most recent tournament, yeah, I think leading into that was just the night before.
Oh, okay.
On Sunday, I happened to get home earlier than I thought I would from what I was doing in the morning on Sunday,
Mhm.
and jumped into lobby with Ghidorah, and also Scott jumped in at some point and had a couple sets with him, and fared much better than previously I had played against Ghidorah, as well
Mm.
as I played Scott in like the first week of the game's launch, and he was playing Ken, and
Yeah.
he bought me then. So this was my first time playing him as DJ,
Mm.
and but no, it was cool. It was cool to see. It was a big turning point of progress because of some new things that I was implementing over the course of this last week prior to that, right?
Ooh.
Whatever week that was. So all that culminating into some cool moments during the tournament yesterday was very rewarding.
Nice. So yeah, so the tournament yesterday, that was the one that I was hosting, the last stop before Evo. We were talking about that on the last show, like that's what I was promoting, and we had a good turnout. It was 25 people.
That's
Yeah,
an
Daniel.
amazing turnout for a weekday
For
on
a
That's not.
Monday?
Monday.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude. That's not just pretty good. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was really happy about that. And then like you talked about some things that you were implementing. Do you mind like elaborating on what you were doing in the last week or what you were trying to do, add to your game?
It's a lot of text thievery, if you will.
Yeah.
Oh.
I one thing that I hadn't been doing in Street Fighter 6 up until then was really starting to get into match footage study of higher level players better
Mm.
than myself. So I started watching Ryu and Paladin. A lot of people
Okay.
know who Ryu is. I think his YouTube is
In
like
Canada.
Ryuken. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Paladin, he's a super young kid. He's like 16 or 17 years old
Yep.
in Florida, and he's the number one ranked Ryu right now.
Oh wow. I
And
never even heard of that name.
he streams like at least every other day on YouTube. And they're doing some interesting things that I hadn't really thought of, and some Oki setups and stuff. So I was just taking it all in, trying to went into the lab and tried to execute it myself, see if I could get it consistently, and then started trying it out online on ranked. And I
Uh-huh.
was finding some success with it. But it was just like with implementing any new technique, for me at least, it definitely had a string of losses as I was like
Yeah.
trying to really cement these new muscle memories into my game plan.
Yeah.
But as I got better and better at them, uh, and a lot less dropped combos, kind of getting used to different platforms and things, different consoles and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
That made me more comfortable with just going for the combo instead of like I think one of the things that really blew me up in the early couple weeks of tournaments and things like that is um, really hesitating on certain things because I wasn't. It's like I wasn't sure what the proper timing for pressing a button was in a combo and stuff like that. So I dropped so
Mhm.
many million things. Um, but yeah, I think the number one thing I attribute to is tech thievery that I wasn't even thinking about from higher level players than myself, and getting comfortable with the execution on it.
Tech
So
thievery
again,
is like one of
yeah.
the things I learned from Street Fighter V as well, because that wasn't a thing before social media was really prevalent, right? We would like see every now and then a video on Shoryuken or something, but like ultimately it took YouTube and Twitter evolving to like the social media generation for these like the most recent like probably 5 years of fighting games, 6 years, maybe 10 years even now, but now that we can see video and then share that stuff really quickly, like it's opened up
Yeah.
a lot as far as like skill level goes and increasing everyone's like potency with fighting because like it's just easier to spread the information around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the speed of it is truly the key there, right? It's like
Yeah.
there was tech thievery before, but it just wasn't so fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be
And so
something like
because
regional, right? Where like only certain players in the East Coast would know about this tech because they, played against somebody and it just gradually like word of mouth, really, like the whispers and the shadows of the
Yeah.
fighting game community.
Yeah, it proliferated in that area. Then like I think the like you said, I think the big thing is the video because like it's one thing to like whatever write out a bunch of notation or whatever in a forum and be like, hey, this is the new blah 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 that I found out.
Yeah,
But like to have somebody put it in video form and be like, hey, this is this safe jump that works for these situations, and this is the kind of conversions you can get off of this situation. Like to see it visually, like I'm a big visual learner. Like pretty much like if I see something, then it's kind of in my memory at that point. So like to see, there's a bunch of people on Twitter that I've seen like post like awesome tech videos, and I'm looking at it, and I'm just like, okay, that's what I could do after this. Versus if I was reading it, I'd be like, okay, that's cool. And I'm just like, I might never implement that until I look at it again.
yeah. There's like Jess and I watched a video by Vesper Arcade last night going over delay tech, which is like to me a fundamental Street Fighter tenet, delay teching, and that was in Third Strike, it was in 4, it was in 5, now it's in 6, and it kind of struck me where I was like, oh, there are people that don't know about delay tech or don't know like how it works or how to replicate it. And if you were to look at it in someone trying to explain it on Shoryuken or in a text format, how do you convey time? How do you convey a delayed throw tech? You don't, unless you have a video to show it. And that's what Vesper did. He was like, I'm going to show myself blocking and then watch the inputs for when they occur. And you can see the timing. You can actually see the timing because of the video medium, which is super cool.
I think it's interesting that you bring that up as far as like a video specifically for Street Fighter 6, because it's been the same tech for several games, but like there's always a new generation of influx of players, right? So it's not that they don't want to, it's that the new players won't think about going to a video for a previous game and thinking that it still applies. They might have friends or something that may say, hey, here's this video, it still applies for this game. But not everyone has that. Not everyone has that luxury. But if they just jump on YouTube and like look at they'll probably search something super generic, right? Like Street Fighter 6 tutorial, right?
Yeah.
And they'll get all these concepts that legacy players have been having for years and years for multiple games in the series. But here it is presented in current game, and the new player gets to see it. So I think it's important and super appreciative to all those people who do those tutorials, because that takes a lot of work to put those things together and make it, nice and succinct, presentable. So it's cool to see that happen for every game again and again. It's not just Street Fighter. It happens with every fighting game. It's cool to see people put that together and be welcoming to new players and help them out in that manner.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because I was actually thinking of putting together kind of like a series of Dawson videos, and like I started thinking about it, and I was like, man, that's gonna be work, because like I need somebody to play. I mean, thankfully, like I have my son that could do it, but I need somebody to play like second player and put it in certain situations that like recordings won't do. So there's some stuff I want to do, because there's this one video I found on YouTube for like Honda and Street Fighter 4 back in the day that was really well done and presented really well, and I love, I think I still have it in my favorites to this day, and like I kind of want to do something like that, and just to put it out there, something I think it'd be something fun for me to do on the side too.
Totally, yeah, and like that would be the equivalent of that in the Shoryuken days. It'd be like, I want to make a thread, I'm going to write a guide.
Or the game facts, James Chen's game facts.
Good old game.
Well, I was gonna say, I wanted to go back to the tournament from yesterday, because that was one thing I didn't notice either, is that so for our top 8, who won? Fizzy Cups won, playing JP. Then Sia was second place with the Ryu. Then we had Porta John here with Chun. Yeah. We had Porta John here with Chun Li, and then fourth place was Ninja Nam playing Mano. Then we had fifth place here with Dragon Ninja playing Ryu. The other fifth place was Q playing Jury, and then seventh was Dizzy, and the other seventh was Dizzy playing Cammy, who Scott was real impressed with. I didn't get to see any of their matches really, and then the other seventh was Swoops, who plays Dawson. And what did you say?
Ooh, I didn't know we had a sim in top 8 too. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was hoping it would be me, but not today, not yesterday.
There's a
Next
lot
time.
of different characters. There was only one repeat with
Yeah.
Ryu. Everyone else was a unique character.
Yeah, one
That's
thing I didn't
cool.
notice until I looked at it today was that Ninja Down placed fourth and you placed fifth, Dragon Ninja. And
Mhm.
when my wife called out the matches earlier, she's like, that was the first round match. It was like we have a battle of the ninjas, and you guys played first round, and Ninja Down beat you that time. And I just, I just found it interesting that you guys ended up in top 8 as a result. Specifically you, because you had to make a losers run to get there. So
That's
you play
actually
a lot more
incorrect.
matches.
I don't need
Oh
to.
no!
I don't mean to pull you off, but I beat Ninja Nam.
Oh, he made a losers run?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
remember that match too.
and he ended up reaching further than me in the tournament.
Oh, he
So
made the
he's
losers
the
run.
one
He
that
made the
made
losers
Shout outs to
run,
Ninja
yeah.
Now.
I actually lost my very next match against Fizzy Cups.
Oh,
It was my
okay.
second
So
match.
either way, both of
it
you
was
guys had
definitely-
a really impressive run for meeting in the first round, and then for you
Yeah.
both to end up in fourth and fifth, I think was really great. I mean, either way, you guys both had to make loser runs if you lost your next match anyway. So
Yeah. Especially in a 25-man bracket, that's a non-trivial amount of matches.
It was cool. That was my first time playing Nam here in 6 and in a game in general in a long time. Goodness, I don't even remember what the last game I played Nam in was. In fact, I don't think I even Exert. Yeah, I definitely played him in Exert, but
that was
he
like 10 years ago.
He quit before I like really played Exert, right? Because I didn't really play Exert until Biking was right, because
later,
I think we talked about it last podcast, so I
Mhm.
don't want to get too into it. But I gave Exert a good college try, like when Sign came out, and then when Rev 1 came out, and then like Biking came out Rev 2, and I was like, oh, I love this character, and this feels so right. This feels like DOA now. I get to guess. I get to play rock, paper, scissors. Bro, I'm in. Yeah. By then, Nam was kind of done with it, and I don't think I ever played him in Strive. So anyway, all that time, goodness, like since Street Fighter 4, I haven't really sat down and played Nam. So getting to play him again was really cool.
That is something that I think is magical about Street Fighter specifically, is that everybody always tries the new Street Fighter out, and it allows you to like bridge between different communities. Like Benny, you mentioned Dizzy, right? Dizzy is a top 8 Marvel player. He got top 8 at Evo for Marvel vs. Capcom 3, if I recall correctly.
Oh,
and so he is, and I got a chance to meet him, and because it's kind of similar to what Daniel was saying earlier, where like I had played Marvel, but I had dropped it long after, a long time. Yeah, before. I can't talk.
Long before Dizzy was playing.
There you go. Long before Dizzy got on the scene, and then he wrecked some people. To make top 8 at Evo, he beat Coach Steve, which is one of the all-time greats in Marvel 3, in my opinion, and he's still playing to this day.
Yeah, I heard Fizzy kept saying Dizzy was super good, but I didn't know how good.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
Oh wow! Wait, so is he local to here now?
Yes, he moved here a couple years ago, but again, the pandemic also is another thing that happened where like our scene grew, but we didn't know it because we weren't having offline events. So again, Street Fighter 6 kind of brings everybody together across games, awesome. Across pre-pandemic timelines.
Yeah, because Scott mentioned yesterday, he was just like, "Oh, there's a good Cammy player over there," and I thought he was talking about my friend Julian, because I know he switched to Cammy recently, and I was just like, "You talking about Julian?" And he looked over, he's like, "No, not him," and he's just like, he looks around, he's like, "That guy over there," and I'm just like, "I don't even know who the hell that is."
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Like,
we've got a couple like stealth players that like no one's played against in a tournament before here. Like Moss is another good example. Moss Cammy is potentially best Cammy on West Coast. I haven't played a better one.
Oh really?
Yeah. And
I played him once online. He mopped me.
He knows his stuff. Dude. And then Mocha Latte's Ken. Like Mocha was at one of the big TGZ tournaments, but by and large has been one of Arizona's best kept secrets on an online world.
Yeah, even in the Street Fighter 4 days. Yeah, he was
Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5.
For a long time.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yep. And then we have the land of JPs here. Both John and Rika are fantastic JPs. They both play so differently. I haven't it's different. Like, is to learn the matchup holistically. Like, it's you got to play both of them.
Yeah.
It's
Honestly,
crazy.
I haven't played either one of them, so like I need to get some games in with them, and then like, yeah, it's kind of. I think like I think that's something we talked about with the launch of Street Fighter 6 too was like player expression, right? Like people are gonna play
Mm.
differently with the access to meter and just kind of the free flowing nature of the game. Like yeah, there are B&Bs and stuff like that that people will certainly do, but then by and large, like in a game situation or a game winning situation, you know, you have to look at all of that. And sometimes you might not make the right decision, in terms of like, is this going to kill or, should I burn this meter and burn myself out? So you got to make all those kind of decisions on the fly and hope that whatever decision you make is right. So like I was saying, like me and Swoops play completely different. And then,
Yep.
it's, you talking about JP talking about, Fizzy Cups, Rika and, Velociraptor playing completely different JP styles. And
Yep.
Yeah, I was making that comment as far as Ryu goes between like
Even Christian.
the three of us. No, even Big Mac.
Oh
Between
yeah.
the three of us regular Ryus that show up to tournaments and stuff, it's like the spectrum. I'm the most aggressive.
Yes, you
Sia's
are.
Sia's the most
defensive.
defensive,
Yeah.
and then Big Mac's like somewhere in the middle, and like has this nice amalgamation of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at various times, any one of those styles can work out really well to our benefit or really to the detriment. Yesterday we saw how how much damage that did to me being super aggressive on Sia was, and he
Yeah.
mopped the floor with me. And so, but there's been other times where I meet up with him on online ranked where it's like, okay, I run over him with that style. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, how do I, Sia's come into really his own as far as like getting better in his offensive play, but his defense is definitely the star of the show for him. But yeah, same idea.
Yeah, I haven't watched a lot. I saw a lot of the matches towards the end. When everybody was kind of spectating at that point, and like, yeah, I hadn't. I think I played him in ranked really early on. But I played Big Mac, and then yeah, seeing Cia's defensively, like yeah, there was a lot of jump back normals that I don't see from a lot of people, like getting out of situations that I didn't expect people to get out of.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, okay. Like, yeah. And it's like you said, like, and you talking about being the most aggressive, you were the one that eliminated me. And it was through that aggression that kind of tilted me. I was talking to you about that. And I was talking to a couple other people. And, we talk about the mental stack of this game. And that's exactly what I felt I lost to, is because you were playing very aggressive to start and you threw DIs out kind of here and there that kind of like I didn't react to them. I just blocked them, and I was just like, okay, so I gotta watch out for this. And then you jumped at me a few times, and I was like, okay, I gotta watch out for the anti-airs. And then next thing I know, my legs are open, and I'm walking back, and I'm watching for anti-airs and DIs, and I'm getting swept constantly, and I'm getting hit by low forwards constantly, and I'm just like, holy shit, what am I supposed to do now? And next thing I know, like the set was over, and I'm just like, okay, well, good shit. I was just like, damn, man, I just got walked over, but that's the name of the game. So I was just like, man.
I think one thing that's really cool about the fact that everybody plays different is that they know it, and then they share with it. So like, I will agree with you, Daniel, that Christian is on the far end of the spectrum as far as the defensive side, but then he has slowly started to incorporate stuff he's taken from Big Mac and from you as far as like when to press and when to be aggressive. And that's like, he kicked the shit out of me in losers finals because like I expected him to play that defensive style like that we were talking about. And then he played more like you or more like Chase. I got hit by a couple of donkey kicks, which is like a Big Mac thing in neutral. And then I got hit by a couple like really big jumps, which I think that's something that you like to do, is you like to force that jump, as Benny just mentioned. And so like, it actually, the difference in styles betrayed me at that point, where I was like, oh, Christian's just going to play D. And then he jumped in and fucked me up trying to throw fireballs. I was just like, wow, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to anti-air properly against him there. And so it just, there's a huge benefit to the freedom of expression that this game offers by having a thriving scene and being able to like talk about your matches and mimic each other or steal tech, as Daniel did for the entire internet, right? You can steal from the internet, you can steal from locals, you can steal from wherever, and then we just get better overall as just a good melting pot of players.
Yeah.
We need more Chun-Li players so I can steal from them. I know only of one in Arizona. And I would like another Chun-Li to trade strats with,
yeah,
please.
I've seen the one talk in your server, but that's I don't even know who it is.
Yeah, that person's not even from the state. Yeah, that's
oh no, that's not even the state. Oh, okay.
No, they're from New York. I ran into them in New York.
Holy cow! Hey, all right.
Yeah, so any Arizona listeners, if you're out there and want to play Chun-Li, John needs a training somebody to talk with.
Yeah, we have a Chun-Li Discord, a little group called the Chundercats. So if anyone out of state is listening too, it's like Thundercats but with Chun. I wanted I wanted the Chunderground, but there were a couple people that were old enough to know who the Thundercats were, so they were really taken to the Chundercats. So that's, I guess, it's better for SEO.
Oh goodness, how could I forget? I feel so. My roommate Godsaw plays Chun. You got
Godsaw plays Chun too. Yeah,
Godsaw plays Chun. He's been playing Chun forever.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
My goodness, still not feel like a.
Yeah, no, that's good though, man. Just like that's the thing I'm noticing too is just like, you know, I'm not even in the Sim Discord. I don't know what it's called. Maybe it's like still Simquisition or whatever from 5.
Simquisition, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was in 5. And I mean, I don't know if it's out there. Like maybe I should go join that because like I keep thinking like I'm finding new shit and it's probably stuff that probably posted 3 weeks ago or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Sim players are notoriously they're very secretive. There's a lot of tech with that character, I think, that is unexplored right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand the whole secretive thing. I'm just like, that's what like I have a lot of respect for Big Bird of all people on Twitter because like people will post responses or tech to his tech, and then he's like, oh, well, here's my response to that, and I saw replies to it, and they're just like, man, you're like one of the most humble people, or it's really cool that you're putting it out there. And he literally said, it was just like, there's no sense in hiding tech because like people are going to figure it out. So why not put it out there for people to put it into the world so that, you know, people know how to deal with it. Right. And I can find counterplay to it and all that stuff. Right.
And it's not just counterplay. There's also a player of that character will take that gimmick setup, even if it's not a gimmick, technique, strat, gimmick, whatever it is that you made, and they'll evolve it somehow. Right. Yep. So
yeah, I mean,
you never know what will get done with what you put out.
Yeah, there was some people asking about, I think this was early on, they were just like, hey, is there a way to combo into this? And I was just like, well, I figured this out. And they're like, oh, I didn't think about that. It's like, yeah, like you said, somebody's going to evolve that or expand on it, and you're just, you know, find new stuff.
There's a lot of stuff that Chun-Li players do that is mine. I'm just saying.
No, see,
ever since you got what was it, highlighted on what channel was it? Was it Vesper?
Arcade?
Was that
Vesper?
Yeah. Then you got all the follows. Yeah.
No, the best is when you see the Japanese doing your stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, okay, we're in there.
Hey, see, that's what I need to do. I need to get there because I want, you know, that's like the one thing that I want. Like, I don't care. I don't need to win Evo. I don't need to do anything like that, right? I just want somebody to like call a move and be like, oh shit, he just did the AK Grandmaster B. And like that's what I want. Because like, you know, like I think in Marvel they had like the Shady K, right?
They're like, oh, he did the Shady K
to live on. Right? Like he did the Shady K, or this is the Ricky Ortiz, right? Like those are the names of like the mix-ups and stuff that they did. That's what I want. I want somebody to be like, holy shit, he just did the AK Grandmaster B fucking Dalsim teleport mix. I'm like, what is that?
I can't front. That would be super sick.
Would you say that you want to be a legend?
Yes.
There you go. There's reason to rank up and just be.
I don't know if Twitter X. I don't know what's going to be around 50 years from now, but I want my name to be attached to that. Some tech that's out there, be like, oh, this is that same shit that he did in Street Fighter 6 when like Street Fighter 9's out, and they're like, oh, that's that AK Grandmaster B shit from 6, bro. That's what I want.
I don't know, man, because it's a crapshoot on whether or not you get labeled with a gimmick. Because it's like that's happened to me before. Like there's a drive rush, the drive rush down forward heavy kick with Chun. Like it keeps getting me killed, but everybody started doing it after I did it in the closed beta. And I don't want that to be the portage because it's got a hard counter. You perfect parry it, and you're dead. And it keeps getting me killed. So I tried to stop going for it.
It all depends on I shouldn't say it all depends. Part of it depends also on who ends up saying that first. Is it some big streamer that all of a sudden says that about it? And a big, not big streamer, big commentator, somebody well known. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know how it's gonna spread.
Dude, like Maynard, for example, like Maynard, I love you, Maynard. I know you're listening because I know you listen to our show. He has a bad habit of dropping a clutch kill combo, and so I've started thinking of it as the Maynard. But then also, so like that's a bad thing is you don't want that.
You've never even voiced that to anyone else. That's just naturally what you think to yourself, right?
No, we
like this is your first time voicing it.
But the thing is, I was thinking about that recently. And I'm like, well, in StarCraft, there actually is a thing where you do it with your SCVs. I think you like send them in a line somewhere. I can't remember the exact technique, but it's called Maynarding. Like,
really?
To do the Maynard, yeah, because there's somebody named Maynard that like popularized that technique, or like wobbling for Smash Brothers. You know, like that's a guy from that I think he's from Arizona, and he invented that technique. So I don't know. It could be a good one. It could be a bad one, Benny. I'm just saying. Like
that makes me think of like back in Alaska, we had some brothers, or I don't know if it was one particular player, but their last name was Borromeo, and they played Marvel, and like it would kind of be like a drop combo. So like it just became known as the Borromeo drop. Like if they'd like drop like a game-winning combo. So it's just like that's why I said I'm gonna put that in the world. Like it's not gonna be like a tournament match and like I screw up and they're gonna be like, oh man, that's me. Like. I gotta put it out there like as like Twitter tech or something like that, and then somebody's gonna find it and they'll be like, "Yo, this is broken," or "This is the jankiest shit I've ever seen," and I'll be like, "Yeah, that's me."
What about jump back heavy kick with Dawson? That's a pretty Benny thing to do.
Jump back heavy kick?
Yeah, when you mess with the teleport. Input. Yeah, I know. We'll call that the Benny. No,
we can't have that.
What about teleport behind them? Jumping medium kick and a throw.
No. Jumping back in the corner. That's me.
Yeah, you do that. You do that with both your characters.
Teleporting into the corner.
There we go.
We gotta somehow shed the Arizona punish too. We gotta get that out of here. Like thinking, I'm sitting here thinking about like how I want my name to live in infamy, or not infamy, but be immortal in some way. We've made Arizona the state immortal with these Arizona throw.
I was gonna say that's in the glossary, the fighting game glossary that what's his name, infill.net.
Yeah,
they put it in as the Chicago punish, but it's the same thing.
Yep, the punish with the throw.
So it's not us. Like I know I've always heard that like since I've been here, but it's like correctly blocking a very unsafe move from your opponent and then punishing him with a low damage, suboptimal offensive move like a throw. And it's under Chicago punish, so we don't have that to us.
I guess. Well, we definitely call it the Arizona punish here, and also Arizona punish is meta because punish counter throw is actually a legit thing to do in this game. So
it is. Yeah, I throw people in the corner all the time. Like I remember Thrasher was talking about like that's the worst thing, and like depending on my situation, I'm just like, do I go for a combo here or do I just throw him in the corner and like hope I can just destroy him there? So I do that a lot.
It's for when you want to take drive, but you don't want to spend drive yourself, so you throw and it takes a full bar. It's a pretty meaty punish, beefy punish rather.
Yeah, that's my go-to right now.
Well, so another way that we could enter the stuff of legends or enter the halls of fighting game Valhalla, and they'll write songs of our exploits. Is we could place really well at Evo. And this is also a pre-Evo show. This is the last show that we're going to have before we all, or at least Daniel and I, make our trips to Vegas, our pilgrimages to Vegas, if you will, to become legend.
That is. If you think about it, the Muslims go to Mecca, right, for Islam, right? Like the fighting game players go to Vegas in August for Evo. Like people from all over the world, from Japan or whatever. Like if there's one place you go to, like. For fighting games, like this is the one, right?
Yep, this is the mountain that you have to climb in your martial arts journey.
It just makes you think about that tweet too. Would you rather win $1 million? Or would you rather win Evo? And there was a lot of people that are just like, if you said Evo, you're stupid.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But it is worth talking a little bit about Evo because that mountain is way bigger to climb this time. There's 7,000 people that enter Street Fighter 6 this year, and so like the pools themselves, like there's like three layers of pools now that you have to go
rounds,
through.
right?
Jeez,
Day one.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Round
What is
one
it-
of pools.
what does it mean to make it out to qualify out of pools nowadays? You know, because like what are you guys gonna like if what's your general goal for
Daniel.
Evo here? Daniel, I guess you want to go first.
I'm not going so.
It depends on the game.
Okay.
I'm entered into
Okay.
4 games, but if let's
Holy
go back
shit,
to Street
4
Fighter.
games. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's
Okay,
go back
which
to
4
Street-
games?
Sam Show, Exert,
Okay.
Virtua Fighter, and Street Fighter.
Okay.
You entered
Um,
Exert?
Yeah, I still
Oh
play.
man,
I
I
still
didn't
play
know that.
Exert.
That's so cool. Okay.
My man's.
That's fair. Daniel
No,
is
I
gesturing to
still
his
very
shirt.
much-
He's wearing a bike end shirt right now.
I very
Nice.
much enjoy Exert still. Exert.
Cool.
But
Alright.
anyway, as far as Street Fighter goes, yeah, I actually haven't made it out of round 1 pools in Street Fighter before, so I'm going to keep my initial goal simple and just try to focus on
Cool.
that.
Is there any notable player in your pool?
I think I
So
haven't
I'm
I haven't took a
gonna look
good
at
look. I remember Kizzy K's in there,
Oh,
Okay.
but I don't remember who else. I don't remember who second seed was. Kizzy K was first seed. I can't remember who second was.
it's also worth noting that like for pools this year, for the first round of pools, I believe 4 people qualify out, like 2 winners, 2 losers, or it
Oh,
might be
really?
3. It might be 3. It might be
I think
like
it was 3. I think it was a total of 6.
Okay.
For round 1. I think for round 1 it was a total of 6.
wait, a total of
Three-
6?
3
So
on
there's-
each side.
I think so. I don't know.
Holy
I'm
shit!
actually looking
6
up- I'm
people
actually looking
qualify
stuff
out
up.
of their pool.
I might be wrong. Hold on. Let me look this up.
I might have to modify my goal because it's gonna be coming a little too easy now.
Dang.
Hey, what are you? You're registered in the DragonNinja, right? What the heck?
I did.
There we go. Got the
Here,
space in there. Sorry. I had to
Oh,
put that- Yeah, you said
true,
Kizzy
right.
K. Yeah. So let me see. I was gonna take a look at that bracket. So yeah. So from the winner's side, it looks like there's 4 that go into round 2. 'Cause it
just from
says-
winner's side.
Yeah, from winner's side it says round 2 pools, and then there's a winner. It says whatever K712 round 2 pools K410. Then there's round 2 pools. Oh, I guess it's the same. I don't know. Well, I guess it's technically getting out of round 1, right? So
Yeah.
there's 4 winners, and then I see that there's 2 losers that go out into round 2.
Holy cow! So
So it is 6, but it's split 4-2. That's interesting.
Yeah. So technically, to get out of if you get out of round 1, yeah, there's a total of 6 people.
Well, the kicker is that at the end of the pool, you do play a match with another person in the winner's bracket, and then no matter what, both of you qualify out. It's just one of you qualifies out in winners and one of you qualifies out in losers. So in total, the pool will have 2 winners bracket players and 4 losers bracket players. That is
Yeah.
That's pretty spicy actually.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so 2, yeah, exactly, because it shows round 2, and then it shows W, and then round 2 L, round 2 W, round 2 L for the winner's side, the top half, and then
Wow.
there's 2 round 2s for the bottom half of the bracket. So there is so 6 with 2 winners and 4 losers going in the losers bracket.
So one thing for our audience, we've been talking kind of in the lens of people that are pretty veteran to Evo. Like we've gone to, I think between the 3 of us, we've probably gone to at least 10 total, like over 10 probably, double
over
digits
10,
at
I
that
think.
point easily.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's worth noting that Evo has always been the biggest major. And so because it's the biggest one, it also has a different flavor compared to a Combo Breaker or a Frosty Faustings or a CEO even, where those are majors. But the Evo, because of the level of international play, getting to and the just the sheer number of people that are coming to play in that tournament, like there's probably getting the top 32 is probably the equivalent of getting winning a major from somewhere around the world. And so by that same token though, for a lot of people that are entering, like my fiance is entering, and one of my best friends is entering, and he's a very casual player. He's like a gold level modern Honda.
Oh, I didn't know Jess was playing. That's awesome.
Yeah, Jess is playing Platinum JP, Platinum Modern JP. And she's gonna go into her pool, and I that's the kicker. Is I told her, I'm like, if there's a tournament to get your first win at, it would be launch year Evo Street Fighter 6, because there's so many people playing that everybody's going to be new, and it's the perfect tournament like experience for a new player entering the fighting game community, because there's so many beginners, there's going to be so many people at your level, there's going to be so many people that are way above you too, so you'll get to see this game at high level, you'll get to see this game at the level that you want to play at, or if you're a beginner player, if you're an intermediate player, there's always going to be somebody at your level at Evo that you could watch and play with. Maybe if you get lucky, you'll get to run sets with them. And then that feeling of being like, hey, there's somebody exactly the same skill level as I am, and I'm like, we're just pacing off each other. Like I can count on both hands the number of times that I've had that experience at Evo specifically. Yeah. So we're talking as if like, hey, I'm gonna qualify out. I gotta qualify out of 3 rounds of pools. Blah blah blah. Like a lot of people, I think, in our competitive fighting game scene, I would say, it's Street Fighter at least. If 20 people enter, maybe 5 would qualify out of their pools. But nowadays the goalpost has shifted because there's 3 rounds of pools. So we might, and there's more of us that are going. There's probably like 40 of us that are going to be playing Street Fighter representing Arizona, and I wouldn't be surprised if 15 or 20 of those people qualified out of the first round pools, higher than that even,
and even get matched up in the second round or something.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Because they do try to separate people by region. So
but that's only so much for pool 1. It's like they have no control over what happens in
exactly
second and third rounds, right? So
I think
a lot more people start making it out, you're gonna have the potential is higher.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say I think it's awesome that Jess is playing. I had no idea. It just reminded me about like, because my wife played at the launch tourney for Street Fighter 5 in 2016, and with her like she had she didn't play she didn't play ranked or anything like that a lot. She kind of just did it. And
I want to be clear here too, and that Mary didn't. When you say launch tournament, Mary played in Evo 2016. She played it in Evo, and that was the previous record holder for biggest fighting game tournament of all time at 5,000 entrants.
So and that was her first tournament, and
she played on stream too, if I recall correctly.
That's what I was saying.
Because
we both had we had pools at the same time. I'm pretty sure we had pools at the same time, and thankfully you were there, John, to help her out, because like I'm focused on my pool and trying to get out of my pool, and then she had all of a sudden she's just like, they want me to play on stream, and I'm like, what? And they're just like, yeah. And I think she was literally like the first or second person that was on stream for that day, like the first day of Evo. She was like the first person on stream, and like she didn't know about setting her buttons or anything. Like John had to walk up and help her. I remember seeing that, and like I don't know, I never looked at the stream chat, or maybe I did at one time, but I forgot what happened. But I'm sure that people were giving her shit about that, and I'm just like, for that to be your first tournament experience, I was just like, what are the chances that you get picked? This is your first tournament at Evo of all things, and you get picked to go on stream for your very first match, like tournament match ever.
How nerve-wracking!
I was just like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, you got put on stream, and like, she went 0-2, but I was just happy that she even entered and that she did it, and just like I didn't expect her to go on stream, but I was kind of we had a good laugh about it later. And I mean, that was the 1 year that I made it out of pools too, so that was a good time for me and a lot of my other friends who hadn't made it out of pools ever. So that was a good time. I was really hoping to make it this year, but just couldn't do it this year.
Jess has been playing. Actually, what's funny is while we're taping this episode, I got a Steam notification and she hopped onto Street Fighter 6, and I can hear the buttons in the other room. So she's playing JP right now in ranked, and nice. I'm excited to see how she does, because she's actually at the point where she's invested in the game. We were talking about this last night, actually, where there's a point where it's like, you're clearly trying this because it's important to me, and we're in a relationship, we're soon to be married, and so you're supporting me in my hobby. And then she told me like I hit that limit, you know, like a couple weeks ago, and now I'm playing because I really like this game, which
That's awesome.
blew my mind. And obviously, again, she's still playing it to support me and stuff. But there are times now where I'm like, because you guys know I've been entering a lot of tournaments lately, and I've been traveling and stuff, and I'm exhausted. And sometimes I'm just so fucking sick of Street Fighter, and I don't want to talk about it. And like after a tournament, I come home or something, and then Jess will be like, "Hey, do you want to play Street Fighter?" And she'll be like, "Hey, I found this video, and we watched the option select the delay tech video yesterday," and I'm just like, it's part of me is just like, you know, this is good because it's forcing me to play Street Fighter even when I don't when I'm not down for it. You know, it's kind of helping me get through the game, like learn more through her, and I'm learning how powerful modern controls are through her. But going back to Evo, at least this is her opportunity, I think, to do something competitive and something that she's invested in. So like, I can see that the pressure, I think, is going to be higher than average for a casual player, because people, I think, have this game makes you feel really good when you play. Like we were talking about platinum level earlier, when you start countering DIs, you feel like a rock star. And so there's going to be so many of those kinds of people at Evo, I think, because if they're going to Evo and they're entering the tournament, then they clearly think that they can at least play the game, you know, or they want to try and get the experience at least. And so it's just going to be so many good matches, because it doesn't even have to be like the top level of play. It doesn't have to be like, you know, Big Bird versus Christitarian on this big stage or something. It could just be a pool match of two equally skilled players and getting hype over like a big comeback or something, or a big read that suddenly swings the momentum of the match. That's going to happen in pools, and it's going to happen with platinum players or bronze players or master players with a low MR or legends.
No, I think that's a great point you bring up too, in terms of people being evenly matched, because like a lot of people like will tune out certain matches on stream just because it's not the big names, right? Like, oh, I don't know who this is, let me go, you know, I'm gonna go take a bathroom break right now, and then they miss out on some super hype moment because they didn't want to, you know, watch two people that they don't know. And you know, as long as they're evenly skilled, like, man, you can, there's hype moments to be found anywhere really. And the fact that you bring up a lot of these people that maybe not, you know, maybe casual, more casual than normal, but like you said, they're entering Evo, but you're also thinking about like the environment, and you know, is this their first tournament? Like, are they gonna have nerves? Are they gonna crack? Like, what's that moment gonna be like when, you know, they're at an 80% life deficit? You know, are they just gonna lose it, or you know, like you said, like the momentum changes, counter DI at the, you know, when you're down to 10% of life, and you're just like, oh, is he making a comeback? Like that could be a defining moment for somebody in their competitive, you know, their competitive play or whatever.
One of the most beautiful things that I see in the fighting game community is when you see that beginner or casual level player get their first tournament win and they give you that nervous smile afterwards. You know what I'm talking about? Like, where it like clearly took a toll on them and it made them freak the fuck out, but they were like, I fucking won and this is a good feeling. But man, was I nervous because they're new. Like, that is such a cool thing to see, because that's basically them like triumphing over those nerves as well as their opponent. And it's like, that's usually, you can tell when the hooks have kind of sunk in. You're like, oh, okay, we've got them now. They want to play competitively now because they want to chase that feeling.
I mean, it's easy. It's easy to tell because we've all been there, right? So it's like, as soon as you see that expression come across, the emotion happen, no matter how much it actually shows on their face, it's like the empathy is like instant because you've been there.
Yeah.
So like,
I saw that yesterday with you, man, at the tournament. Like, you had a nail biter of a match. I can't remember exactly who it was, but you got up and you were smiling afterwards, but like it was a nervous smile because you clutched it out, you know. I don't know. I just like, it doesn't go away is what I'm trying to say. That feeling of like nervous, but like persevering and like, I don't know. It's so cool when I see new people go through that, or veterans like yourself. So
yeah, it's you mentioned being nervous, and like I noticed myself yesterday that, so I went into, like I mentioned earlier, like I got eliminated by Daniel. But prior to that, like the first match I played was against Q and his jury, and I played them at the TGC Casuals, and they pretty much mopped me the whole time, right? Like they just, I don't think I got a win at all. And then I ran into them after I got my master rank, and I was just like, I didn't recognize the name until I think I was down a game already, and I was like, oh wait, this is the queue that John was talking about. Like I had saw the name in the bracket, and I was like, I'm pretty sure this is the same one, right? And then they beat me in master rank too. And then like I lost that match, and like I didn't think anything of it. Like I didn't, kind of TO things like in terms of setups and stuff. My mind was kind of all over the place yesterday.
Sure.
But I lost that match. But then like the second match, I didn't know who this other person was, and like I know Scott was watching behind me. I don't know who else, but like I lost the first game, and then after that, I was just like, "Am I really gonna go 0-2 right now?" I was like, I was in the back of my mind, and it's like I ended up clutching out the win. And then like when I got up, like I noticed like my hands were shaking, and I was just like, man, I was like, when's the last time I played in a tournament? Because normally I'm not nervous at all, like ever. And then I was trying to think about like when's the last time I played like in a actual like big name tournament? Because I played like the launch tournament at Contender or whatever, but like to me like I didn't have any expectations or anything with that. It was
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
a
just like,
launch
well,
tournament.
I'm just here, right? And like everybody's just doing whatever. But yeah, I was just like thinking it's been years since I've been in that kind of situation, and like yeah, my hands were shaking, like I was all shaky, and I'm just like, holy crap, I got like tournament nerves, and like that never happens.
Yeah, that I saw that at the Tucson tournament recently too. It was happening at DTN.
Mhm.
That was something that I've been trying to work on. Is during the tournament yesterday, I didn't feel like I was too nervous, and that's a new feeling for me because the last 3 or 4 tournaments I've entered, I've gotten the shakes,
Yeah,
and that's just like that's literally why. Obviously, I came there to support my friend's tournament, but the benefit is that I was trying to practice putting myself in like situations of duress and with something
yeah,
on the line, and you feel it like I feel it like my hands tensing up or seeing my hands shake, and I like
yeah,
when you're down
exactly.
when you're down, they're up a game and they have a round over you, and you're like, I got to win this round or I'm done. Like
Yeah,
that feeling in a tournament bracket like is way different than in casuals, or even
yeah,
like if you're gonna get
yeah,
kicked off a station or something. It's just
yeah. Or online ranked, like yeah, it's not the same thing sitting at home, and I'm just like, oh shit. I was like, if I lose, like, okay, well, I'm gonna lose a set. Like that's not the same thing to being in an offline tournament. Like
yep.
you even mentioned that yesterday. I heard you say that you're just like every game I've been to, or every set that I had, it's like last game, last round, and like this is what I wanted. Like you
Yeah,
said that yesterday.
yeah. No, I didn't want to play any 3 out of 5s if I could help it, because that's not the format we're playing in this coming week. We're going to be playing two
Yeah.
out of threes. It's going to be random. There's going to be a lot of random people playing, and one of us is going to get Honda or Marissa. I guarantee it. Like Maynard might actually Marissa people for us. So
I can guarantee he will. I
Yeah.
can guarantee at least one.
yeah.
He'll
Yeah.
get it.
Dude, at DTN, there were so many people that were like, I got Honda. There's this like 2 or 3 Hondas that just like wrecked people's shit. And then my pool was the Chun-Li pool, where there were 3 Chun-Lis in, and we finished in top 3 of that pool because nobody fucking knew that match. And it was just like, like Rashid's gonna do some damage. I guarantee that too.
True.
It's gonna be a bloodbath, and I don't know. Like we're gonna have to run around and cheer for everybody too. Like Maynard's been putting together that spreadsheet, and that list is getting longer and longer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that we talked about. Like, yeah, that's something I used to do with my friends from Alaska, just to I'd compile everybody's tournament pools and everything, and like, uh, that's another thing I tip for Evo. Like, screenshot stuff on your phone if you have like nobody's really gonna print stuff out, but screenshot stuff on your phone because your signal's probably gonna be ass all over that venue. So it's like if you want something like a map, like screenshot the map. Don't rely on like looking at the Evo app or whatever they have out there. Like screenshot that and put that on your phone if you want to look at that regularly.
The other
Because
thing
yeah,
is
like you
that
said, like you got a lot of people there.
yeah, and so if like we were to pull up the Smash GG brackets, like in locals and some like bigger tournaments, like you can follow along. But at Evo, because there's so many pools running concurrently, they run all the brackets on paper, the pools on paper, and then what they do is they go and take the results and send them back to the command desk, and they punch them into Smash GG. So we are not going to be able to see people's results until well after their pool has been completed. So if you're looking to like follow along at home or anything, just be ready for that. It's just going to be a results list ultimately for the Arizona people.
I'll probably try to start a thread in like the Facebook group. Like I think I've done that every now and then. It's just like, here, please post your results or updates on people. And like people have been pretty good about it, because otherwise you end up with like 20 posts of everybody's like, oh, so and so's got out of pools, and I'm like, huh? And I was like, why don't we just keep it here, and like, everybody can kind of keep track, and if needed, like, I could edit the main post and keep up with the results or whatever, who made it on the pools.
That'd be cool. And then now we have 3 layers of pools that we have to keep track of. So we'll see how far everybody gets.
I'm wondering, because like
and Evo as a whole keeps getting more and more games. This isn't just Street Fighter, right? So it's like
yeah,
the community games come in. We've got SNK doing their own official side tournaments.
Yep.
All kinds of things. So there's way more to keep track of. Obviously, with the higher number of entrants, it's a record-setting year, not just for Street Fighter, but as the event itself, right? What were they at now? Like 9,000, 10,000 now?
I think the total entrance is like 11,000.
11,000.
Oh my god!
Wow, it's crazy.
I think it's 11,000.
Crazy to
Just
think
had that pulled
about.
up. Let me see, 11,064. That's how many total. Well, I mean, granted, there's gonna, or that just says attendees, so I'm assuming that's unique people that have entered.
Yeah,
So-
I don't know if that number includes spectator passes or not, but regardless,
No, I don't think so.
Oh my god!
No, because this is
that line is going to be enormous.
Yeah.
It's going to take
Yeah,
so
'cause this-
long to get into the venue.
Because that's something that we
no.
talked about, was like I've seen on Twitter, because there's been confusion about like the badges and the passes for finals and whatever. And this is just Start GG, so this is just game registrants. There were spectator passes available through AXS, the website where you bought the
I didn't know
finals tickets.
I didn't know they were separated like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they were specific spectator passes. So that's 11,000 attendees for game registration. So I don't know how many spectator passes were.
They're probably all entered into at least one game.
Yeah, just make sure you guys wear deodorant, take showers, please. 15,000 or
Please.
It's a lot of people, man.
And like the tickets for finals are sold out, which is the first time since they moved to the arena that the tickets have sold out. And I remember being in the arena in like 2014 or 2016, I think was the first like big year, right? And it was cool, but like it was still pretty empty. And I was like, we're not filling this arena. And apparently now we're filling the arena, and now they're scalping the tickets for like thousands of dollars. Someone mentioned that at the tournament yesterday. And I'm like,
that much? I knew there
like
was
$1,000 for a scalped general admission Evo ticket.
Damn.
And I'll be real, like it's not worth it, man. It's not worth $1,000. Like the seats are really uncomfortable in that arena, and then you got to sit there because you got to get there early to get the right seat that you want. And like you're probably going to be watching a game that you don't want to watch, Tekken, and then you have to sit there and watch it in this really uncomfortable seat, and then eventually they get to your game. I love Tekken. I love Tekken. Tekken's awesome. But I've seen it so many. It always leads in.
Strive.
Oh, for Strive?
For me, that day is going to be Strive. I did get a ticket. So for me, that day is going to be Strive. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's going to be Strive for me too, actually, because I think, Strive is before 6
you got
this year.
2 unimportant games for yourself on? That's rough.
Well, only because
like Strive is my only one, so I got at least 3. No, it's 4 games for that day, right?
Yeah, 4.
I think it's KOF, Tekken, Strive, and then.
Wait, is it KOF? I thought it was Marvel.
Oh, is it Marvel?
It might be Marvel. Yeah. Also Marvel. Well, we haven't even talked about Marvel. Like, there's that big storyline between the old gen and the new gen, and this is like the one last ride for the next 5 years.
What do they call them? Like COVID internet generation? What was the new
Parsec
generation?
Parsec
generation. Thank you.
The COVID kids.
We got the BC and the AC kid.
Before COVID.
Oh, man.
What year did you join Marvel? 3 BC? No, but that's cool. Yeah, that one I would definitely be interested in watching that one too. But
are there any big storylines?
I definitely don't think they ever did.
I wanted to ask Daniel, are there any big storylines in the games that you're entering? Like DOA, is there anything new
DOA's
refreshed
not there? So
not even a side tournament?
But No, not even side tournament. No one stepped up to the plate to run it.
Oh
So
wow. Okay.
that's why that's not one of the games I'm entered in
Fair.
of the
Gotcha.
4.
Okay,
But
I was gonna
anyway,
ask about that,
I'm
but I
trying to
didn't know.
think of other storylines, games that I'm entered.
Like
I
how's the
know for
Sam
sure
show?
there's Sam Show stuff, but I'm not so that's the one I'm least entrenched into. So I actually don't know the storyline super well in that one. I just know goodness, what's his name? The Canadian player, biking player. He's been winning like everything that he goes to. He's like the guy to be. He's been like smashing grand finals, like 3-0 or 3-2, 3-1.
With
Like
Bikin and
every with
Exerd?
no, Biking Sam Show.
Oh,
Sam show.
Vikings and Sam Show, Exerd, and Strive.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And all three of those. Okay, this is gonna be a lot of Bikin
She's
and
like
Evo.
she's top tier in Sam Show. She's really good. I started playing her because she felt really comfortable and really easy compared to Hanzo that I was playing before. But
Yeah.
yeah, he's been like destroying, and it's been like one of those fight for second place kind of things. So
Ah.
he's definitely like the villain to beat right now.
Wow.
So we'll see what comes of that. But as far as other players that generally make top 8, I don't know. I can't think of anything specific off the top of my head. But I know it exists. That's probably the biggest one I can think of for the games that I'm entered into.
Yeah, I did double check the finals day, John, for you. It is it's Marvel versus Capcom 3 is first, then Tekken, then Strive, then Street Fighter.
I want to see Marvel and I want to see Street Fighter.
Yeah, so go in
Oh,
for
no.
Marvel and have somebody hold your seats and say, "I'll be back in
Yeah.
4 hours."
That's
I
another
wanna
thing
stay
about
for
the
the whole
seats.
day.
Speaking of the seats, people that haven't been before, if anyone's listening or watching this before we get there, if you're on the floor, you're going to be in those folded seats. They are padded, but they are just
Foldable
seats.
steel chairs.
Yeah. So do with that what you will if you want to be sitting in that for 12-ish hours.
$1,000 for that. $1,000 for that
for that, yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
That's what I was mentioning earlier. Like, it's not worth it for that. Like, I saw a lot of people on Evo on Twitter talking about when they said that those tickets were sold out, and they're just like, "Oh, I was waiting, or I was gonna buy on the day of," because, like you said, they never sold out in the past. But I'm like, if you saw the registration numbers, like that should have been kind of your. If you didn't get a ticket already, that could have been like you should have been like, "Oh, I think I need to buy a ticket now." When they mentioned, they put the Dragon Ball picture up and over 9,000, like that should have been your ticket to be like, "Hey, I need to go get this finals pass." But hey, that's lesson to be learned for next time, because I don't know. I hate to be that way sometimes, but I'm just like, if I know I'm going to Evo, the first things I'm taking care of is my registration, and if I want to go into the arena, my finals arena ticket. That's it. My travel arrangements, my hotel. There's plenty of places that you could stay. Like, you don't have to stay at the venue. Like, I think that's the easiest thing to do. But there's plenty of hotels in Vegas where you could stay. You know, you can figure out the other things. But I was like, those would be my top two like Evo tips for people. Would be like, get your registration done, because you don't want to fly there or find out registration's closed and hey, you didn't register. And if you want to go into the arena, make sure you get your arena ticket. Like, I don't think I don't know. I guess there was some confusion about that, but I'm just like, the information's out there, man.
I think some people may have had the thought that John had previously, right? It was about this is the first time the arena's been sold out. So it's like it hasn't really been a thing that people have thought about going into, and they wouldn't have had that information coming from legacy knowledge people like yourself, right? Because no one would have communicated that. No one would have necessarily seen this coming, other than if you looked at the numbers, the high number of registrants of the event itself as Evo as a whole. Sure, you could make the assumption, but by and large, it's like something like that. No one really had legacy knowledge of. So I mean, there's some things that seem like common sense that you would take care of first, but not everything's so clear as day.
I don't know. I just saw a lot of doom and gloom, and people were like, "Oh, my trip's ruined now because I can't make it in the finals arena." I'm just like, really? I was like, I don't think my trip would be ruined if I couldn't get in the arena. I'd be like, okay, well, let me go find some people to watch the stream with. I'll go hang. Maybe somebody's got a suite or something, and we can go hang out, whatever.
And that's more legacy knowledge that people like that, if they're newer, that they might not know about, right? If they're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm missing out on the finals day. What am I even gonna do? I'm here stuck in Vegas for another day. When am I gonna hit the slot? They're like, I want to play more games, and they're not thinking about like, yeah, there's how many people are actually going to get in the arena versus how many people are actually attending the event. Like, there's going to be plenty of people around to fight
You
against
know,
it, but they
that
don't
makes me
think about
wonder. Like, I wonder if I don't know if it's been done in the past, but if there's any like local venues that have thought about doing that? Like,
There was last year, I know for sure. I know PSG, they're not
PSG
around
is the one I
anymore.
think of,
They're dead,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
PSG did do a final Sunday where they're like, hey, come in,
Yeah,
discounted
see, that's what I
discounted
would think.
rate, and we put the
Yeah.
finals on the screens or whatever.
See, I'm
I don't know
surprised
if
because
there's going to
like,
be any other places now that PSG is dead, but
yeah, I mean, it doesn't even need to be a gaming place. Like, it could be. I mean, I would think that. I mean, I don't know. It's Vegas because there's so much stuff going on all the time, right? But like, I would think that there would be somebody out there that's part of the FGC and maybe not in the arena and just maybe he owns a small business and just like, hey, we're doing an Evo viewing party here, get the word out, blah blah blah, come to my little restaurant or something.
I was just gonna echo that. Yeah. Was it last year or 2 years ago? I can't remember, but it wasn't Sunday's final. I think it was Saturday night.
Mhm.
We were too lazy to go find somewhere to eat like out off the strip, so we just like stopped at like a sports bar thing. At,
Yeah.
and they had like the bets going on like a ton of different screens, and there was like 2 monitors that had Evo matches going on. We're like, what? Oh, really? And so we're
Awesome.
just sitting there like eating our burgers, whatever. I can't remember what everyone got. It doesn't matter. But yeah, sitting there in a sports bar watching Evo matches.
Yeah. I
That's
think it's
pretty
too late for me
funny.
to organize that now, but if by chance I can't go next year, maybe I'll have to partner with like a local sports bar or something and be like, can you guys put a Twitch stream on? Like, what are you talking about? It's like, don't worry, I can bring people in here.
That was actually going to be one of my questions to you, Benny, since like, you're not going. Like, are you going to have any kind of viewing party? You going to have anybody over to watch with you, or maybe an online
Probably
call?
not. No, maybe the Discord call or something like that. I might do something like that just because like I've got to work that night, so probably not going to go anywhere. Probably just going to try to sleep early and then probably wake up enough for Marvel finals. I'm not too interested in Tekken or Strive like you, so I'll probably take a nap during that time and wake up for Street Fighter 6.
Nice. Are you going to watch anything before top 6 or like any of
I'm
the
gonna try. I'm gonna
semifinal
try to
stuff?
tune into the streams. Yeah, I'm gonna try to tune into most of the at least the Street Fighter stuff because that's really the main thing that I'm interested in. Just kind of seeing what's out there because like I think that's part of like it's like you mentioned with Jess, right? Like you said that she's doing it because she's having fun, and it's
Mhm.
just like that, and like she has an understanding of the game. And I think for even like my son, like he understands like the game mechanics, and when you get to that point, and like you understand at least like that stuff on a basic level, like you start to appreciate like the high level stuff and like what's going on in other people's matches, right? It's not just you're just watching a match. You're just like, oh, he did this. Because there's a lot of stuff that's lost on me watching other games like Marvel or whatever. Like I'll see a mix up and I'll be like, what the hell was that? And like, I might not think it's anything special. And then like the commentators are going crazy and I'm like, what happened? And they're like, oh, well, he did this, or this was like a super layered mix up that, you know, unblockable or whatever, right? Something like that. And I'm just like, yeah, when you get to that level to where like you're having fun and like you understand the game on a more than basic level, then yeah, it's something to behold, like to watch people play at a higher level. So yeah, I'll be definitely tuning in for the Street Fighter 6 stuff as much as I can.
I think that's one of the strengths of our genre as a whole, compared to like a MOBA or a StarCraft, even, where oftentimes MOBAs and StarCraft, you have to have the commentator describe what's going on. But for
Hmm.
fighting games, you have that, but you really don't need them to describe what's going on a lot of times, because if the bar is going down, if the life bar is going down
Yep.
faster than the other guy's life bar is going down, then your guy's winning, and that's awesome. And then on
Yep.
top of that, you have the layers of being like, oh, did he hit him with like a delayed jab set up to beat his delay tech? And then combo that into a level 3, like what the hell? Like there's layers to even spectating these games,
Yeah.
and I think that's it's like a visceral, like primitive universal style. Like the fact that these fighting games are so simple that it's 1v1, one life bar goes down before the other life bar,
Yeah.
and then they have other tools on the screen that flash and glow, and then the game slows down on a counter DI.
Yeah,
There's bells and whistles.
that reminds me of the time like I had my parents were here like during a time when the tournament was on, and I was wanting to watch it, so I put the stream on, and then like they were sitting on the couch watching it. They were just like they were in tune and like they could understand like, oh man, he lost really bad, and I'm just like, yeah, he did. It's something like that. So that that's always awesome to see.
I have a hard time, like when I was on stream at DTN, I was like, should I share this around to my family? And it was against Men RD, and I'm like, nah. I think I'm good.
To the Asian parents, hey John, how come you not get first place, man? I made top 8. It's like, why not top 4?
It's always interesting to see like with family or friends that aren't even interested in the activity itself get invested in it when you're the one doing it. Maybe you didn't want to share it because, like in your specific case, you didn't want to share it because you don't want everyone to see you get blown up, right? Yeah. But like for anyone else that's like considering like sharing, hey, you guys want to see me play this, tune in here, like you'd be surprised to see what kind of family or friends that aren't into those activities that will jump in for those 5-6 minutes and will be like, oh, cheering you on, and be like, they'll message you and be like, oh, good job, we saw that was so cool. I think the first time I had that was actually not even game related, right? Mm-hmm. It was after I graduated high school. I was a wrestler in high school, and I still have VHS tapes of a lot of my matches throughout high school. Yeah,
that's awesome.
So for some reason, some of the family from my dad's side was interested in seeing some of these, and he'd take the tapes over, and he'd be messaging me and telling me how my grandma was just like going nuts, like this happened well in the past, like a year, 2 years, 3 years ago. But
grandma got hype.
Like it's like it's very obvious when something is happening, when someone's got someone like pinned down on the ground, like so. That parallel to me is like with fighting games, like things on the screen are very obvious for like who is winning, who is losing, and it doesn't matter what the activity is. When it's competition, people get hype when it's somebody that they're involved with, that they know, and if they're winning or losing. So it's really cool. And so like my whole spiel on going on that is like, if you're thinking about like sharing with I would recommend doing it. Because
totally. I agree.
They'd be super into it, and it's cool for them to share that moment with you.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean sometimes you got to give context to it, because like when I played Daigo in 2014, like I shared that and I was like, hey, I'm 2-0 in the tournament. Like I'd post I'm going to Evo, and like some people would be like, oh, what's that? And then like, oh, it's a gaming tournament or whatever, right? And like, I posted right before I played Daigo, and I was like, hey, I'm 2-0 and I'm about to go play a legend, and like I had people comment on that I'm sure they didn't even play fighting games, or they didn't care, but it was just like, you're playing who? And like, sometimes you got to put it in context. Like I'm playing the Michael Jordan of Street Fighter or whatever. And just like, oh, that's why you lost so bad. Like, something like that. You know what I mean? It was just like, yeah. I was like, but people are, I think people are interested in seeing like the stuff that you do, or at the very least, like you're passionate about.
Tangentially related, but a Defend the North story I haven't told yet is after I got my medal for placing in top 8. It was like 10 p.m. or something, and I hadn't eaten dinner for that whole night because I was playing in top 8. And so I walked back to the hotel and met up with my fiance, and we decided to go to the nearest restaurant that was nearby. It was a KFC, a Kentucky Fried Chicken. And we go there, and then there were people from the event, because again, it's near the event, so it's just it's a restaurant that's still open. And there were people from the event. They were like, hey, you're Porta John, right? And I was like, my head is so big right now. I was like, yes, I am. Yes, I am. I am the Porta John. Are you interested in learning about Chun-Li?
That's awesome. See, going down as a legend, right?
Yeah, as a legend.
Like, just who else can walk into KFC in New York and be like, "Are you Porta John?"
Getting recognized by people you don't know at all, never met, like really met, is a trippy experience for sure.
There were people that wanted to take a picture. I had just met them, and they were like saying, tough luck on the match, but good job. I guess the
Yeah.
Lily player in particular. And they were like, let's get a picture together. And I'm like, you want a picture with me? Hell yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take a picture with you. So there's a picture online of me with a bunch of people that I met like that day. And they were the people who placed top 8 in Tekken too. So I was like, oh, like this is cool. This is cool.
That's tight.
I made some
That's
friends.
awesome, man. At a KFC of all places, man.
Fighting
That's
games
the-
are something so great.
They are
that's
something
the
so
FGC
great.
That's the FGC for you, man.
Yep. Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah, man.
That is a good note to end our show on. We are approaching our 2-hour limit here. This is a longer one than usual. Usually we've been cutting it off for an hour and a half, but these are such good conversations. We got a lot to talk about today. So I hope actually, yeah, Dragon Ninja, do you have anything to shout out on the way out here?
Huge shout outs to the step up of Maynard, the X button that we've been talking about,
Oh,
as a community leader.
Hmm.
He's been hanging around. It's post Street Fighter 4. When he stopped playing Street Fighter 4, he got involved with me playing DOA, and so we've been friends for a little while now. And you know, I've always known that he's been, you know, really passionate about being helpful to people, and
Yeah.
seeing him step up and do all these things for the community here in Arizona for Street Fighter that he's starting to really enjoy. And I shouldn't say starting to, but it has from the beginning really enjoyed. So cool shout outs to him. I respect that a lot, and all the work that he puts in, because it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
the X button.
agree.
He's got app. Elon Musk named his app after him now.
Oh no, I never thought about that. So like, what, on Twitter, like the tweet button, what did they call that? The X button. Oh no. That's so good.
Damn.
Oh man.
Oh
But
man.
he bought one of Elon's cars, and all of a
He,
sudden
yeah, he,
they're best
buys,
buds.
he drives a Tesla.
He drives a Tesla. Yeah.
Is every
That's
button
true.
on the Tesla the X button?
Oh, that might be a question for Maynard or Elon himself.
Reach out to like the console in the Tesla, please, and let us know what he says personally.
Well, thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. We can be found at Twitch at twitch.tv/Spiral Series, YouTube at youtube.com/Spiral Series, and on on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you search for Absolute Guard. I'll get it one of these days. This time I try to do it from memory, but anyway, have a good night. We'll see you all at Evo and afterwards. Take care.
Later, guys.
I'm still losing it over the X button. That's so awesome.